What's up everybody, Nate here from Out of the Basement, bringing you a brand new action figure review. Today from Star Wars The Black Series, we are taking a look at VIZSLA from the Clone Wars. For us here on the channel, this is a long-awaited, highly desirable character that we were so incredibly hyped about when it was initially announced. But then when we actually saw the figure, most of us in the community had a collective sigh because yes, as many of you are aware, this is unfortunately on that old 2017 Jango Fett body, which is horribly outdated, has some really bad articulation and wonky proportions as well. That really took the wind out of the sails for a lot of us. So with that in mind, I think we all know what to expect with this figure before we even pick it up. But for me, I think this will still end up being a pretty good looking figure, although it's pretty much just going to be vanilla posing for this guy. So window packaging here, that is back for this wave and permanently in the line. Here is the mural art on the side, and you can see they actually had a Darth Maul up there in the back. That's really nice. Here's his bio if you want to pause it and read it. And he's also the 17th figure in the line. And here's the barcode on the bottom. So we're not going to waste a whole lot of time here. We're going to go ahead and get this figure open. We'll take a look at all of the accessories and then VIZSLA himself. Thankfully, he is pretty loaded up with accessories, so we get two Mandalorian blaster pistols here. No paint apps on them, unfortunately. They're both identical, though. We've seen these quite a few times. And they fit nice and securely on his leg holsters. We also get the inclusion of the Darksaber, which is just a repainted version of the Mandalorian one. And this looks great. I like the solid black and white that they chose to do with it. Kind of gives it a different look, but really makes it pop out more than I think the others have in the past. And of course, the blade is removable. And that leads us over to the jetpack, which is a new accessory. We have not seen this before, so this is brand new. It's got some nice painted details on it too. Obviously we have a lot of silver here, but we have some nice intricate red and white details there as well. And it also has a little clip here so you can store the Darksaber, and that's looking pretty awesome when it's all plugged in there. And the last accessory included is a removable helmet, and they did an excellent job. The paint app details on it look great. The unique antenna pieces here also turned out really nicely, and the different paints and plastics they used in combination here just give this some really nice looking details, and it fits perfectly on the figure. Alright, and here's VIZSLA out of the packaging. And as I definitely anticipated, this figure is very frustrating, and all the lovely memories of dealing with Jango Fett, the Mandalorian loyalist, the Mandalorian super commando, all of those unpleasant times just come flooding right back, trying to even get this figure to just stand on the rotating base was a challenge in itself. And so while, you know, I understand they most likely used this body so it matched those loyalist figures, I definitely think they should have just used the newer Death Watch Mandalorian body. It's just so much better. It's got better proportions. It looks more like a human wearing armor. And I think this would have turned out just as well. Because also I am torn. I do think the figure does look really good, but the articulation is so bad, and the tiny feet that this body has really make it a challenge for this to stand for long periods of time. And I just know there's going to be so many shelf dives in the future caused by VIZSLA. So it's just a little frustrating that they used this old Jango body. But enough about that. Let's just go ahead. We're going to get him off the stand, and we'll take a closer look at the details. And so even though we know going into this the articulation is going to be pretty horrible, they did a fantastic job on some of the details here. Mainly this brand new head just looks wonderful. We have some really nice photoreal details. The scar is nice and gruesome, and they did a great job with the beard and hair this time around too. We have his chest symbol there painted in a nice bright blue, and I do like the gunmetal color that they used for the armor throughout. It looks very nice. Has a good contrast with the dark gray undersuit. But yeah, as you can see, this is just the Jango Fett body in a VIZSLA paint app scheme. And here's these tiny feet that cause so many problems with this figure. And like you saw earlier with the helmet on, this figure looks even better. While it's not on the most ideal body, you know if you see this figure on the shelf that it's pre-VIZSLA. And with it being such an old body here, I'll just do a quick articulation rundown. With the new head, he can look up a decent amount, and he can look down pretty well. Even with the helmet on, he can look up, which is very important, especially if you want to have him in a flying pose. And down is just as good. We do just get a little side to side, and of course rotation there. The shoulders go up about that far, and they can rotate around. We do have a sorta bicep swivel here, which has always been really weird on this body, and a single elbow that gives you less than 90 degrees, and be very careful with these hoses. They will break on you. The hand does rotate around, and unfortunately has horizontal hinges. We also get absolutely no ab crunch on this figure. This is literally nothing. It does have rotation, and there is also no side to side there. For the legs, they can kick forward just about that far. You can only do the splits out that far. We get almost no kickback here. We do have a thigh swivel and double jointed knees, which these do work well, but you know, do kind of look weird. And his tiny feet can go down very far. They can go up just a little bit, but there is ankle pivot and peg holes as well. So yeah, do not expect any sort of dynamic posing here with pre-VIZSLA. He can just barely grip the Darksaber with both hands. And really it just leaves me feeling so conflicted about this figure because, again, it just looks really good, but we all know it could be better. But unfortunately, this is probably the only 6-inch pre-VIZSLA figure that we're ever going to get from any company. And so if that's what it takes to have this character represented on my shelf, then I suppose so be it. And we'll get things started here with a couple of Mandalorian loyalists, which, you know, these do look pretty nice together. I will give them that. Then we've got the Black Series Bo-Katan and the Mandalorian Death Watch Trooper, which just look at that. What could have been? And next up we have the Clone Wars Anakin and Obi-Wan. And then we'll wrap things up here with the Clone Wars Season 7 Darth Maul. And so there you have it. There was my review for the new Black Series pre-VIZSLA. This figure is definitely a little bit of a tragedy. It's a great looking figure. I think the details are very nice, but it is ultimately held back by being on such an old and outdated body. It really hurts the posability, and even the proportions are wonky on this old buck from 2017. So yeah, I wish they would have done this on the more modern Mandalorian Death Watch body, but you know, it is what it is, unfortunately. Like I mentioned earlier, it's not like we're going to be getting a pre-VIZSLA from any other companies, so this is pretty much your only option if you're looking for a 6-inch pre-VIZSLA for the shelf. So yeah, I think it's good enough. It can absolutely be better, but to have pre-VIZSLA standing there on the shelf, this will definitely get the job done. So there you have it. There was my review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like. Subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about Star Wars The Black Series here on the channel. And I got to give a big shout out and a special thank you to all of our current channel members. Your continued support is truly appreciated. And thank you to everyone else out there for watching. I'm Nate from Out of the Basement, and I will see you next time.